Hey, I'm glad we had a chance, finally got a chance to catch up. I definitely want to follow up. I know we want to do something in person as well. Like I said, we'll make do for now, and then when everything kind of settles down, we'll figure out a time to catch up some more, to connect.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But yeah, so for these interviews, what I would kind of do is just keeping it light. Like we don't have to go into too much detail, but
Okay.
really just kind of about H3, and then you kind of tell us a little bit about how you started it, kind of your background, what that was like, and then kind of the products and services,
Okay.
and then we can kind of just take the conversation from there and to see where it goes.
All right. Awesome. Ready whenever you are, man. I appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Let me go ahead and get the recording started. And recording is running. All right, so I'm ready to kick it off. All right, I am Terrell Turner, the host of Business Talk Library, and today we have a guest on that's going to talk about his company, H3. Now, H3 came to my attention because I saw some of the posts that they did on LinkedIn about some of the innovative things that Quentin was doing here in Charlotte in the tech industry. So I wanted to have him on to talk about it. Quentin, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
No problem, no problem. So tell us about H3. Kind of, where'd you get that idea from, and kind of what does H3 do?
Okay. So I get that question often, and so I share it in this manner. So H3 is really a case study of my own personal life. So I had an opportunity to read a book called H3 Leadership by Brad Lovanek, and it talked about the hustle, the hungry, and the humble. And then I began to look at my own career and how, in different ways, I had to hustle to either get that next position. I had to hustle to learn more. I had to be hungry for the information. And then the humility of life is just really knocking you down at any moment, and it's how you react to that. But in terms of a company, of what we do in a company standpoint, so I graduated undergrad in 2009, I mean 2007, excuse me, from Winston-Salem State. And then at that time, I was student body president. I moved to New York and took a job with Sean Combs working in the music industry. Quickly realized that wasn't a long-term viable option for me because they were not like remaking executives. So I moved back to Charlotte, and at that time I thought there were only two companies in Charlotte. That was Wells Fargo and Bank of America. So I worked at the bank for about 5 years and did well at Wells Fargo, was promoted several times, but I hit a plateau in my career where it just wasn't working. And that could be just leadership or things I had to learn and grow on my own. Ended up leaving the organization Wells Fargo, and a buddy of mine said, "Hey, you should get into IT recruiting." So at the same time in IT recruiting, I was enrolled in a master's program for organizational leadership. And so I began to kind of look at some things in the ecosystem, particularly Charlotte, what I was seeing from a recruiting standpoint, what happened to me in my individual career, and then the gaps in that process. So you would hear the word diversity and inclusion, you would see all these cool Instagram posts, but there was nothing really to measure the success of what was really doing. I started hearing about Charlotte being under 50 in terms of economic mobility. And so for me, it was like, what solution can I put in place to solve this particular problem, both for myself and those around me? So last May, I decided like, hey, I want to do these H3 events targeted at that particular time for diverse candidates so that we ultimately can create environments where they feel very comfortable to build genuine relationships with each other, to talk about their experiences, what classes they're taking, what salaries they're making, just teaching each other and giving the information directly to candidates at the time. So that really went well. And then I would say, okay, well, let's go a little deeper. What do you really want to learn? And so that's when we started developing these mini series built around whatever the organization was having trouble around. So agile is a big new buzzword in tech. And so every company needs to be agile now, regardless if you in the tech sector or if you're on the finance operations side. And we found that there were a lot of minorities at the time that had no idea about agile, or they wanted just an opportunity to learn more and leverage those opportunities. So with the unique background of taking what I experienced on my own of not having access to information, not having access to capital or resources, we built a product and service to do that. So it's basically taking my experience in the music industry of solely managing artists, and so now we manage people's professional career. So we do everything from your interview prep, from fixing your resume to strategizing, looking at your resume and determine what's the best course for you to go on. From a career standpoint, we're teaching you how to negotiate. But on the flip side, we know that companies want to make better products and services, so we're aligned with their needs and wants, so that at the end of the day, everybody walks away happy. So we capture the talent, develop the talent, and then we look at companies to deploy the talent too. So when a candidate leaves the H3 network or the H3 community, they're fully developed because they've had career coaching, they have resume writing, they have resume prep. We've strategically told them what particular courses they need to sign up for, or what the path of best success for them.
Okay, and I think that that's a very good thing because that's something I talk about on the podcast, or even with some of the writings that I do, or even when I'm working with my own clients. It's like the basics, the basic fundamental of a business is solving a problem.
Right.
And I think that it's great how, like I said, you looked at kind of your own career path, and even with diversity inclusion, it's just what's the problem that companies are having, and how do we fill that gap?
Right.
And I think that it's like no matter how the environment changes, as long as you're filling that gap and adding value, it's like your business always has a market.
Right, right.
Yeah. Now, I guess talk a little bit about your experience. I mean, with going from the music industry, as you talked about, like taking what you learned there in the music industry and managing an artist to now what you're doing with the H3 solution that you're providing. It's like, what were some of the big, aha moments that you're like, hey, that was a parallel, I can use that here?
Absolutely. I think having the unique opportunity to work with Sean Combs and I intern with Russell Simmons. So one of the really things about leadership or building companies that leaders never talk about is really the team that you hire, the people that you're putting around. So really for me, it was really putting around people that really were good at what they were doing or wanted to do, and allowing them to be great. So particularly our first case study with H3 was I notified or found a candidate in the marketplace, was really good. Resume was all over the place. So I sent her to a resume writer and a career coach who kind of dressed her up and got her really ready to go. To equivalent to the music industry, it's just when you find a new artist. He or she may have this talent, but you have to groom the talent, you have to massage the talent. Mm-hmm. So it's really taking that experience, that customer experience, and really looking at my candidate as a product, as I was looking at my artist as a product. What position that I'm going to put my artist in so that he or she be most successful? Is that me putting them around other writers and producers from a creative standpoint? And now take that same concept. So now if let's say I have a product owner that's new to the market, I'm going to put he or she around other strong product owners so they can naturally, organic, do that cross-pollination of just learning naturally. So taking those same basic concepts of making a superstar, we're taking them and doing them from a talent standpoint and professionalism. And that goes the same from entrepreneurs from entrepreneurs to creatives. It's really about if you embody these three characteristics, we can kind of mold you and walk with you and tailor solutions based on where you're at if you embody the H3 mantra.
Okay. Now, so how do you go about like finding people or clients go about finding, get in touch with you guys?
All right. Well, we've been very fortunate. So we just launched QuentinDeBerry.com, QuentinDeBerry.com, so they can look up the information of what we do. But very fortunate. So over a year ago, I did it really. Another parallel from the music industry. So P. Diddy was notorious for the street promotion, boots on the ground. How do you get people to recognize yourself? Well, the first thing we did, we built our database to actually attract the talent first. And so now companies are seeing the new content that looks a lot cooler. We're dropping the commercial style videos with the music. Our marketing is a little further than what you see from traditional staffing agency, what you see from traditional talent management firms. So companies are now calling us. We had a really good relationship with Avid Exchange. So I think our marketing materials has allowed us to have some unique conversations, and people and clients are now finding us, figuring out a way, how do we really work with you and partner to create this synergy?
Yeah, okay. And I think that becomes a very big thing because my experience with General Electric, whereas they spent millions and millions of dollars in, developing the talent, and then, even more in trying to recruit the talent to where that makes it a unique solution because not a lot of companies are fortunate to have like their own talent development. It's just like they just have to hope that people either get it on their own
Right.
or they just have to hope that they got it somewhere else and they came as a good package deal.
Right.
So do you guys do like I guess different programs with companies where they may say, hey, these are my existing employees. These are areas I'd like them to develop in. And do you guys do any development in that space?
I know we were actually having conversation with a few organizations here in town pre-COVID to come in and do parallel trainings of just the basic agile principles, agile coaching, and some product management stuff. But COVID has changed that because now we can't come in the office to do the hands-on training.
Okay. So what is it like and I've seen some of the videos of the H3 events. So what is it like when you're a new person, you come to your first H3 event?
We've heard everything. It's just really, it's so organic. It's cool. It's not forced. So again, my experience in staffing was we particularly had everything at the local breweries, and it wasn't very diverse. Wasn't very open and welcoming. It just didn't have that feel that I was here. This environment's open for me. So the biggest thing about H3 at our events is that we are who we are. We walk in, there's a DJ usually playing music, and our theme song is from Nipsey Hustle and Motivate. So we always start prior to the event that comes on to signify that we're about to start. It's just very relaxed. It's designed so that you walk away with a minimum of 2 to 3 strategic relationships. So we're not inviting just random people to come and quote unquote network and no value is added. So it's strategically inviting recruiters, it's strategically driving product managers or product owner, whatever the skill set we're teaching, hiring managers and people that are of influence so that the conversation is very robust. People love it. One young lady, a student from UNC Charlotte, a junior at UNC Charlotte recently told me like this was the first time she's ever seen that many minorities in the tech space in one room. And she was just so excited. But it was, again, strategic to create these environments where people just feel safe that the saying is no question is a dumb question. We really want to encourage our community to ask questions. We want them to be engaged because of a lot of our programming is designed directly from the feedback that we get from them, from surveys. We whiteboard at every session, H3 events, so that you can write whatever on this whiteboard that you want to see from a training perspective. That could be project management, software development, emotional intelligence, data analytics, data science. So that's how we program, by building direct feedback from our customers in real time.
Okay. So when it comes down to actually building the business, what were some of the early challenges or just the early hurdles that you had to kind of switch your mindset from, like working for someone else's company now to, building your own?
I think I was very fortunate to have a strategist. So we have a strategist by the name of Will Featherstone. And so Will basically allowed me to just really brain dump on him. So we go in the office, play a little music, and I just talk. And somehow he takes what I'm saying and organize it on the board, and we just match out what's feasible and what's not feasible. We break it down into what we essentially call a product pie. Is this piece of the pie for those that are going to get our free services? Is this for those that are repeat customers? And just really refining the product from both taking my emotion out of it, because it's no longer about me and what happened to me in my career. It's about the influence that we had. So I think some of the early challenges was really holding on it to it more personal than it should have been, because I was building the company for other people. It's just that the first case study was, or the case example was me. But really just get out of my own way was probably the first 6 or 7 months of understanding what we had.
And that's a lot to that. I think what you just said, I mean, as far as really just getting out of your own way, because even as I work with different clients, one of the challenges that I think a lot of entrepreneurs, just business owners face is when they come up with an idea, it's just like the idea is a part of them and it's like it's born out of their own experience. And it's like the way they approach it is everybody's going to have the same experience I had, so we're going to do it this way. And like I said, being able to just take a step back as a business person and look at the merits of the idea for as a standalone, not my personal experience, but is this really a good idea, or is this a
Right.
really good approach?
And so
So,
I think that was really like I have a really strong circle, so that I spent a lot of time just bouncing the idea off them before I was even ready. And so we draw it out. I'm big on just really speaking it out and then laying it out on the line of what's feasible. And so my friends would really tell me, "Hey, this part of the business doesn't make sense," and it hurt in the very beginning, but I knew that they had my very best interest in heart of saying, "Hey, you have something that's unique and your very own, but now." Is for other people, and you have to let it go.
okay. So if there's someone out there that is looking to start a business, so what would be some advice you'd give them like, hey, this is something you probably should consider or think about if you're going to be successful at this?
I think the number one thing is the H3 motto. Um, just really, do you have that internal hustle to know that when you get knocked down, are you really going to get back up? I think the humble part or the hungry part is you have this idea, but are you going to really go do the research to see who your competitors are? Are you really going to build the roadmap out to see what your product looks like from, or a general idea of what you look like from today to the next year? And then the humility part of life is not always going to be fair. And I think if you embody those three characteristics, you can figure out the recipes of building a really complete business because you have those characteristics of success. It's really about finding the information that aligns with your vision and goals and then connecting that and making sure that it just keeps going. The hardest part is just really getting back up every single day when you don't have any money or your clients are not calling you back. Is really, are you going to have those intangibles to keep going?
Awesome. So how can people find out or see footage of some of the past H3 events that you guys have had? Where can they follow you?
Okay, again, QuentinDeBerry.com. That's QuentinDeberry.com. Or on YouTube, all our videos are up. You type in "How to Hustle H3," and all our videos will pop up. We're also getting ready to launch our new initiatives around what it looks like to work in the virtual space. So we're super excited about launching some of the virtual events.
Awesome, awesome. Well, definitely thank you for being on the show. We'll definitely, like I said, spread the word and all best of luck as you continue to move forward with your company and your team.
All right, thanks a lot, Terrell. Thank you so much, guys. Be safe out there.
All right, recording and stop. Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot for being on the show, man. I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was like, should I cut all my hair off? I can't go to the barbershop. I don't know. But it's been fun. It's just Charlotte's been Charlotte's been unique because a lot of the staffing companies look at me as a competitor now because I have the
Yeah.
staffing background.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's only 2 years. I really just learned quickly about what was going on. Like it's huge business in Charlotte. But on the flip side, I also saw that just black people were not getting a fair shot because we didn't know how to write our resumes. We didn't know how to write a conversation. There was no advocate in this ecosystem for you. So a lot of staffing firms have these where they're what they call minority-owned business, but it's by the wife or a military veteran. So that's how they're able to get on these lists to partner with these firms. But then you think about it, there's no black technical recruiter in the space. So before I got in, it was, hey, it's a pipeline issue. And I was like, wait. A&T graduates the most black engineers in the country, and they're 2 hours away. Like, what do you mean there's a pipeline issue? And so really started connecting it, and we really just took off. And I just think the videos just set us apart because it still had that urban flair to it, but it was so informational, and people just have like natural fun. That last event we did, the product owner, product management, it probably was our most diverse one that we've had in the last year. It was about 50 people. I'm talking about white, black, old, young, military, veterans, starting their career, 10 years in their career, 20 years in their career. And it's like, whoa, how did y'all hear this? So we're starting to take off. It's just COVID just it caught us by surprise. We were not ready to go virtual that quick.
Oh, I agree. I think to your point on the pipeline, that was one of the big discussion points when I worked at GE, and I guess some of these GE executives were talking about how the pipeline wasn't there they struggled with you know filling the pipeline with diverse talent, and it was one of those things I always just think it's like, man, if GE, like as big as GE is, like how do you have a problem with pipeline? Like maybe you just don't have the right people
Right.
attracting diverse talent to even get into your pipeline, or maybe it's just like where you guys actually go. So I joined the recruiting team. I know my master's is at Notre Dame, and I went on a recruiting team, and I look at everybody else that was recruiting. I'm like, there's no diverse faces.
Right. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. I even was trying to do business with Passport for a while, like even before you and I connected.
Gotcha.
And Nick, Nick was just, it was just bad. And it was just like, hey, I just want to have a regular conversation with you, even as just hosting an event at your space for an awareness, because again, H3 bring unique value in that we really know the tech.
Yeah.
And we really have the pipeline, but we also can create experiences that will attract people to your company.
Gotcha.
And like now, man, if a black candidate in this market I'm probably the first recruiter they call as a black candidate now. Like I know that for a fact. It's like, hey, such and such said you were the go-to person.
Okay.
So really understanding that and harnessing that and just teaching them and really just giving that information back for free has been our key. We just give it back. We package it up really nice and give it right back.
Okay. Now, do you guys usually have a lot of people who are either trying to learn more about tech, like they don't have a tech background or they don't have an engineering or software background, but they're trying to learn more about that or change that up?
No, we don't. I think that was the unique piece of it. All of our people are really experienced. The only new quote unquote tech people are the ones that go to UNC Charlotte, so they're already learning. But what we're able to do for that particular population of our community is to say, okay, learn the basics in school, but this is the software, Angular 6, Angular JS, JavaScript. This is what you really need to learn to be competitive. But no, our community is super experienced. And I think it's because we came out, when you had the first event, we had Ebony Burrows. She's a A&T graduate, 20-year career in tech, agile coach, really went through from a graphic design system analyst up to agile coach. You have Deanna Steed over at Avid, who's 4 or 5 years in recruiting. You have my friend Aaron, that's in 10 years. The last event. So our talent is on par with who's getting jobs in Charlotte now. So we didn't have Yeah, it's surprising that I thought it would be the other way around, but our database is really talent that got at least on average 5 to 6 years of experience with hot technology. That's SharePoint, Jira, SQL, some agile experience.
Okay, yeah. Nice. Well, definitely, man. Keep up the work. I know we'll definitely stay in touch. I'll keep an eye on what you guys are doing, and if there's something we can do to help you out, like say any introductions.
Okay.
I know I ended I actually left Passport at the end of March, but I still, like I said, have plenty of connections there. So if there's anything I can do there, or if there's anybody else in my network, definitely let me know.
Okay, I will. We really, our next shift will be going into just the entrepreneurship space.
Okay.
Because we want to teach black entrepreneurs like what scaling means.
Okay.
I was talking to my uncle recently. In 2007, he pitched to a VC, but at that time, I had no idea what he was doing. I'm like, Uncle Johnny, you were like ahead of your time. And I don't think he knew what he was doing. I think he just got the meeting, but just really understanding like this information this is the perfect time to build something. And if you're going to build something of a product and service, let people help you along the way. And that's in terms of getting your business set up, opportunities for marketing, opportunities for investors. Make sure you have a product that's ready to go and you're not wasting your ideas or time.
No, I think that's good. And I'll definitely keep you guys in mind, because one of the things that I'm doing with the Business Talk Library is focusing more on interviewing other business owners, other entrepreneurs, and because I think there's a lot of a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs out there that have great ideas, and I'm like, what can I do to help them get the exposure? I guess I'm in a fortunate position, like for my wife and I, just kind of where we are financially, and then us having like kind of our own accounting and finance consulting business, to where I'm like, how can we do something else to give back to the ecosystem and give back to other business owners, entrepreneurs, give them that platform that they can tell other people, because we've been fortunate to work for big companies and have relationships with people that not everybody else has those relationships, but they're looking at our podcast and it's like, hey, how can we help give somebody else that platform so they can show off what they can do? Especially when it comes down, I think I agree with you in that space of pitching to investors. Because I remember like just having a finance background and having worked with entrepreneurs and helping them develop like the financial business case and the financial model, to where there's so many business owners I came across, or entrepreneurs, they were like, I have a great idea. I have no idea how to put together a financial business case.
Right.
So where it's just like, all right, we'll work together. And I think the very first one I did was, it was a pitch for, actually a gentleman got a call from L'Oreal about a hair care product line, like back in 2012. And he was like, I have no idea what to show them. Like, they want me to fly to New York. I have no idea what to show them. And I was just like, all right, we'll figure this out. So we just cranked through, hours and hours of just working through kind of putting the financials behind their business model, so that they could go give an effective pitch when they walked into that room.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I definitely feel you on that.
All right, cool, man. It was a pleasure. I'll let you get back to your weekend. Be safe out there, man.
All right, you too, man.
All right, take care.
All right.
Bye.